Hello, my beautiful, intelligent children. We are looking at the unit circle day 2. So our first concept here is the fact that these are called periodic functions. Okay, so if f of t and f of t plus c are the same for some number c, then it's called periodic. And so when we're dealing with the unit circle, this deals with the fact that we have lots of angles that are coterminal. So the fact that these angles are coterminal and can end at the same spot and have the same value, then these are periodic. So 4 of the functions, sine, cosine, cosecant, and secant, have a period of 2 pi. They have to go around a whole circle to get to the same value. Tangent and cotangent, though, only have a period of pi. So that's a little bit different there. All right, so this can be helpful because a lot of people like example 1, cosine 7 pi. Well, 7 pi is not on our unit circle. So for some people to figure it out, that would be kind of tough to, like, how many times around, and does it land back here? Does it land here? So a good idea would be to keep subtracting 2 pi until we get to a value that is on our unit circle. Okay, so if I said 7 pi minus 2 pi, well, 5 pi is not on our unit circle. So I'm going to subtract again. 5 pi minus 2 pi is 3 pi. That's not on our unit circle. So I'm going to subtract again. 3 pi minus 2 pi is pi. Ooh, pi is on our unit circle right here. So the cosine of pi is -1, but that means the cosine of 7 pi is also -1. They're coterminal. They end up at the same spot, so they end up with the same cosine value. All right, so secant, -19 pi over 6. Well, that's not on our unit circle, but because it's negative, I'm going to add 2 pi instead of subtract 2 pi. But I need a common denominator, so 2 pi is the same as 12 pi over 6. So I'm going to add 12 pi over 6, and I get to -7 pi over 6. Well, that's not on our unit circle. So I added another 12 pi over 6, and this time I got 5 pi over 6. That is on our unit circle right here. So if you go and look at the unit circle, then secant is the reciprocal of cosine, and you'd end up with -2 over root 3. So the secant of -19 pi over 6 is -2 over root 3, which is -2 root 3 over 3. So all we're doing is adding or subtracting circles until we get to a number that we recognize from our unit circle. Now for tangent and cotangent, you can add 2 pi or subtract 2 pi, but they have a period of pi. So I mean, you can add or subtract any multiple of pi. You can add or subtract 1 pi, 2 pi, 3 pi, 4 pi, 5 pi, 6 pi. Okay, so because it has a period of just 1 pi. So here, pi is the same as 4 pi over 4, so we have our common denominator. So I added pi and got 7 pi over 4. So then I added another pi and got -3 pi over 4. And then I added another pi and got pi over 4, and pi over 4 is on our unit circle. So we know that that's going to be right there. Okay, so then the tangent is y over x, which is just 1, because at that spot they're the same value. So then I have the tangent of -11 pi over 4 is equal to 1. All right, and then one other concept, even functions and odd functions. 2 real basic ones are x squared and x cubed. X squared is an even function. Whether I plug in 2 or -2, I get +4. X cubed would be an odd function. If I plug in 2, I get 8, but if I plug in -2, I get -8. So even functions, you get out the same thing no matter what you plug in. So an example using trig, the cosine of 30 is root 3 over 2. The cosine of -30 is also root 3 over 2. So cosine and secant are even functions. Doesn't matter if you plug in a positive or negative, you get out the same answer. So odd functions Like example, sine of 30. If I plug in 30, I get 1/2, but if I plug in negative 30, I get negative 1/2. So if you plug in opposites, you get out opposites. But the signs don't have to match. Sometimes I could plug in a positive number and get out a negative, but then when I plug in the negative, I'd get out a positive. So that's the key, is even functions, if you plug in opposites, you still get out the same number. Odd functions, if you plug in opposite numbers, you get out opposite numbers. And all the rest of them are odd. Sine, cosecant, tangent, cotangent, all of them. All right, so example 2, these are not on our unit circle, so we can't use the unit circle to help us. So all we're going to use is the fact that these 2 functions are even, these 4 functions are odd. So the cosine of t equals negative 3/4. Well, cosine is even. So whether we plug in a positive or a negative, you get out the same answer. So if this is a negative 3/4, this one is still a negative 3/4. And then these two have the same input, and secant is the reciprocal of cosine. So if this cosine value is a negative 3/4, this secant value is a negative 4/3. All right, so now we have sine of the opposite of t equals 3/8. So we want to know what the sine of t is. Well, sine is odd. So if we plug in opposites, we get out opposites. So since this one is a positive 3/8, this one is going to be a negative 3/8. Then this said the cosecant of the negative t. Well, cosecant and sine are reciprocals. So this would be the reciprocal of the first one. So 3/8, the reciprocal is 8/3. All right, and that's unit circle day 2.